Imagine discovering that the most powerful man in America had been keeping a secret about you for an entire decade. My name is Sarah, and I thought I knew my life until the day I entered the forbidden room in my billionaire husband's mansion. What I found inside destroyed everything I thought I knew about our arranged marriage. Walls covered with my photos from the last 10 years, every decoration detail chosen based on my personal tastes. This is the story of how I discovered that true love can be hidden where we least expect it, and how revenge can be sweeter than we imagine. My story begins with a betrayal that would change my life forever. I'm Sarah Winchester, heiress to one of New York's most traditional business families. For years, everyone knew I would marry Ryan Morrison, the young heir to America's wealthiest family. I pursued him for 10 years, blindly believing in a love that was never reciprocated. But that Tuesday morning, my world collapsed when my father called me into his office. With a coldness that cut me like a blade, he announced, "Sarah, the marriage to Ryan will be transferred to Madison. She deserves this opportunity after everything she suffered being raised away from the family." Madison, my half-sister. The daughter my father had with his secretary while my mother fought cancer in a hospital bed. "You can't be serious," I replied, feeling the ground open beneath my feet. 10 years of my life dedicated to a man who would now be handed on a silver platter to my father's mistress's daughter. My father adjusted his glasses with that condescending expression I knew well. "Madison is more delicate, more feminine. Ryan needs a wife who compliments him, not someone who constantly challenges him like you do." The humiliation burned in my throat, but I wouldn't let him see me break. "Fine," I said with a calm I didn't feel. "But this will have a price. I want $300 million in cash, plus all the inheritance my mother left me." The silence that followed was deafening. My father paled, realizing I wasn't bluffing. My mother's inheritance included valuable properties and family jewels that he had borrowed over the years to impress his new wife. "Sarah, be reasonable. The company is going through difficulties. Then you have until tomorrow to decide." I cut him off, rising from the chair. "Either you pay me what I'm asking, or Ryan Morrison will continue to be my either you pay me what I'm asking, or Ryan Morrison will continue to be my son, will continue to be my other, you pay me what I'm asking, or the choice is yours." That night, at Madison's birthday party, I would discover just how much my life had become a lie. Arriving early for a conversation with her, I heard laughter coming from the main hall. Peeking through the half-open door, I saw a scene that would be forever etched in my memory. Ryan was passionately kissing Madison while she wore the wedding dress I had specially designed for our wedding. "Finally we can be together," I heard Madison whisper. Sarah never suspected anything during all these years. Ryan laughed, holding her face between his hands. She was always too naive. She believed every lie I told about having to keep distance until the wedding. "Actually, I could only stand the dates with her by thinking about you." My vision blurred. 10 years. 10 years chasing a ghost while they laughed behind my back. During the party, Madison staged an Oscar-worthy drama. She claimed I had stolen the family's ancestral bracelet, the same bracelet that had belonged to my mother and that my father gave her as a gift. With tears in her eyes, she asked for all guests to be searched, including me. "Sarah has always been jealous of me," she whined to the audience of socialites. "But stealing Daddy's gift on my birthday is too much." When the security guards approached me, I felt something definitively break in my chest. There, in front of 300 people from New York high society, I made my last declaration as the naive Sarah Winchester. "You can stop the search," I said loud enough for everyone to hear. "I came here today to officially announce that my engagement to Ryan Morrison is cancelled." The silence was total. "I consider this my birthday gift to Madison. You can keep this man. I, Sarah Winchester, no longer want anything that's been used." People began to murmur, cell phone flashes went off, and Ryan turned pale as paper. "Sarah, you can't be serious," he stammered. "You pursued me for 10 years. And you took advantage of every second to humiliate me behind my back. But that ends today. I turned to leave, but not before leaving my final card. Oh, and Madison, about the bracelet ... it's in your purse. You put it there yourself during our conversation in the dressing room. 3 days after that life-changing night, I was in the office of the most powerful man in the United States. Alexander Morrison, Ryan's uncle, and the true commander of the family empire that controlled major American corporations. At 42, he was known for his coldness in business and for never having married, dedicating his entire life to work. Miss Winchester, his deep voice echoed in a luxurious office overlooking Manhattan. I heard you want to officially cancel the engagement with my nephew. Alexander had always made a strange impression on me. During all the family dinners, I felt his eyes on me, but I interpreted it as disapproval. Now, studying his serious face, I perceived something different, an intensity that made me nervous. Yes, Mr. Morrison. Ryan made it clear he prefers Madison, so I see no reason to maintain this farce. He got up from his chair, walking to the window. You've always been very ... direct. My grandfather asked me to take care of you before he died. I can help you get rid of this marriage, but ... He turned to me. Marriage is no joke. You can't simply give up when things get difficult. I don't give up easily, Mr. Morrison, but I also don't accept being deceived. An almost imperceptible smile appeared on his lips. Then prove it to me. How? Marry me. The words left his mouth as if he were proposing a common business deal, but the impact was devastating. Alexander Morrison, the man who controlled billions of dollars and had presidents on speed dial, was proposing to me. I don't understand, I stammered. It's simple. You want revenge on those who betrayed you. I can offer that. As my wife, Ryan will have to call you aunt. Madison will never have the status you would have. And as for those $300 million ... He paused dramatically. Consider it just pocket money. My mind quickly processed the implications. Alexander Morrison was 15 years older, but it would mean security, power, and, above all, the sweetest revenge possible. And what do you gain from this? I asked. For the first time, I saw a vulnerable expression cross his face. The chance to fulfill the promise I made to my grandfather. And maybe ... double quotes, he hesitated. The company of someone who isn't interested only in my money. 2 weeks later, Alexander Morrison and I were married in an intimate ceremony at the courthouse. The news exploded in the media like a bomb. Winchester heiress marries billionaire after scandalous engagement break, headlined the newspapers. Ryan appeared at my new home that same night, completely distraught. Sarah, have you gone crazy? My uncle is 42 years old. So what? I replied coldly. At least he never betrayed me with my half-sister. You did this just to provoke me. I know you still love me. Before I could answer, Alexander's voice cut through the air like a blade. I think you'd better stop bothering my wife. Ryan turned around, his face red with anger. Uncle, you can't be serious. She's just using you to get to me. Alexander walked up to me, putting his arm around my waist in a possessive gesture that made me tremble. Ryan, let me clarify something. Sarah is my wife now. Any disrespect to her will be considered disrespect to me. And you know how I deal with those who disrespect me. The veiled threat was clear. Ryan paled and left without another word. That night, alone in the guest room of the mansion, I wondered what I had gotten myself into. Alexander had been a perfect gentleman, respecting my space and making it clear that I could have time to adapt to the marriage. But there was something in his eyes, a depth I couldn't decipher. 3 weeks later, during a business party, I witnessed something that would change everything. Madison had appeared at the party, clearly trying to get Alexander's attention. She wore a provocative dress and kept approaching him throughout the night. Mr. Morrison, she purred, I hope you don't hold resentments because I ended up with Ryan. After all, we're family now. Alexander's expression when he looked at her was one of pure disdain. Miss Winchester, he said coldly, I suggest you behave appropriately. This is a business party, not a place for your performances. At that moment, watching how he dismissed her without a second glance, I realized there was something much deeper in that man than he let on. The fire that would change my life forever started on a Thursday afternoon. I was alone in the mansion when I smelled smoke coming from upstairs. Running up the stairs, I discovered the smoke was coming from a room at the end of the hallway, the only room Alexander kept locked, and that I was expressly forbidden to enter. Mrs. Henderson, the housekeeper, came running. "Miss Sarah! You can't go in there, those are Mr. Alexander's orders." "The house is on fire," I shouted, pushing her aside. "Am I going to let everything burn because of an idiotic rule?" I forced the door open and entered, prepared to find an office or storage room, but what I saw left me breathless. The walls were covered with hundreds of my photos from the last 10 years. Sarah at the prom, Sarah at university graduation, Sarah at charity parties. Some were from newspapers and magazines, but others were clearly taken without my knowledge. Me walking in Central Park, me reading at the corner cafe, me simply living my life. The room's decoration was exactly as I had described my dream room in a magazine interview years ago, grayish-blue tones, vintage furniture, a reading chair by the window overlooking the garden. "Oh my God," I murmured, touching one of the photos where I was smiling at the camera at a company party 3 years ago. "I can't explain." I turned abruptly. Alexander stood in the doorway, his face paler than I had ever seen. "Explain then," I said, my voice coming out weaker than I would have liked. He entered the room slowly, as if each step was painful. 10 years ago, when you first appeared at a family dinner, I fell in love at first sight. My heart raced. 10 years? You were 22. You wore a navy blue dress and laughed at the terrible joke my grandfather had told. That night, I knew I would never be the same. He approached one of the photos me at a charity event last year. During all these years, I watched you from afar. When you got engaged to Ryan, I died a little each day. But when you came to my office asking to cancel the engagement, he looked directly into my eyes. It was as if I had been given a second chance. Why didn't you ever tell me anything? What would I say? "Sarah, sorry, but I've been in love with you for a decade while you were chasing my nephew?" He laughed bitterly. "You would see me as a pathetic old man obsessed with a younger woman." I walked up to him, my hand lightly touching his face. "Alexander Morrison, you are many things, but pathetic is not one of them." His eyes closed at my touch. "You don't need to pretend you feel something for me. Our marriage can continue being just an agreement. What if I don't want it to be just an agreement?" He opened his eyes, a cautious hope appearing on his face. "Sarah, during these weeks as your wife, I saw a man who treats me with respect, who protects me, who makes me feel valued. Ryan never did that in 10 years. I moved closer. And now I discover you've loved me all this time." "I love you," he said simply. "I love you so much it hurts." Our first kiss was 10 years of repressed feelings finally being released. When we separated, I knew my life had changed forever. 6 months later, Madison and Ryan were arrested for fraud and embezzlement. Alexander had discovered they were diverting money from the family companies to finance their luxurious lifestyle. My father, who had allied with them, lost everything and had to sell the family business. As for me, Alexander gave me 80% of the Morrison Group shares, officially making me the most powerful woman in the United States. But the most precious gift came 9 months after our honeymoon. Our daughter, Emily. Today, watching Alexander play with our daughter in the garden of our Los Angeles home, I realize how true love can arise where we least expect it. Sometimes, the sweetest revenge is simply being genuinely happy. This story taught me that love doesn't always come the way we expect. Sometimes, the right person is right in front of us, patiently waiting for us to stop chasing someone who doesn't deserve us. If this story touched your heart, leave your like and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories. And tell me in the comments, from which city or country are you watching? I love knowing that our community spreads around the world. Until the next story.